So here is one thing that I've realized as I've gotten older in my life. And I know coming from a 28-year-old to maybe an older person, that doesn't really mean too much with being 28 years old and barely seeing like the world and stuff like that. But I'm speaking as a young adult or an adult growing up in a crazy world where literally everything changes on a daily basis. And what I've realized as I've grown like older and kind of evolving into the person that I believe I'm meant to be is that life has different seasons depending on your circumstances and what you want. So what I mean by that is that depending on like where you are and what your goals are, you're going to enter a different season compared to, for example, if you were like a teenager growing up. So for example, when I was in high school, the season was honestly just trying to figure out who I was, in addition to learning about all these different subjects from biology to chemistry to, whatever, and trying to like find out like what I honestly like was interested in at the time. My only problem is that like I was interested in like everything but nothing at the same time. And trying to figure out who I was when I was like growing up in Cambodia, like overseas, and also Egypt before that, in international high schools was very interesting because you get exposed to a large number of people from different cultures and different backgrounds, which makes you question who you are and your values, as you like grow up with these people. And during high school, I feel like high school is a very tumultuous time for just everybody. Unless like you're maybe like an athlete or something like that and you have a more defined path. But for someone like me growing up in high school, the season was trying to figure out like who I was and just kind of going with the flow with just like hanging out with friends, as cliche as that sounds. So like in high school, that was one season. Then when I went to college, when I was 18 years old in California, that was more of a season of trying to figure out what I wanted to do for a job and potentially a career down the line that would set me up for life. So that was a completely different shift in mentality from, I obviously studied and busted my butt in high school to get to where I am today. But at the same time, my college years formed the very core of the identity that I have now as the person who I am today. So during college, it was more of just trying to study as hard as I can, trying to network as hard as I can, taking on all these like summer internships with like these crazy research projects, which half the time were, interesting to study, but didn't really have a practical, a practical like setting me up for like later in life. It was a very interesting time, and so like with college, it was interesting because I took it way more seriously than I probably should have. Like it's funny how like you talk to people as they reminisce about their college days, and one of the common themes that you might hear is that I took it way too seriously. I should have had more fun. That type of regret. And where I went to college in California, it was basically like a retirement community. So there really wasn't too much to do like in the surrounding area, like next to the actual university campus. So as a result of that, I had devoted more time, to studying and stuff like that. But obviously, when you're in college, you try to make the most of it with like social groups and clubs and going out every so often and stuff like that. So during my college years, I was, studious as can be, and I was trying to figure out like what my degree was going to help me in terms of a job like down the line. And the only irony is that what I went to school for is not what I'm doing now, which is completely different, along with my interests, which have also evolved over time. So like with the season of high school, it was a lot of studying and it was a lot of again trying to like figure out how the heck is this college degree going to help me like find a job. So then after I graduated college and I started going into the workforce with my actual like, first job, it was interesting because that was a season of trying to get used to the idea of working a normal 9 to 5 job because school and work in the real world are two different things. When you're in school, it's like its own bubble. You go to class, you do your assignments, you come back, you hang with friends, you work out, that type of thing. But when you're in work, it's like when you're in the workforce for the very first time, it's very different. It's like you have to get used to the idea of a 9 to 5. You have to get used to the idea of commuting. You You have to get used to the idea that you're surrounded by people who are much older than you, or at least I was in my job. I didn't have like a lot of people that were like my age and stuff like that. It was a lot of like family people that had already like defined careers in the industry. And so like that was a season of like trying to work hard, obviously, but like also trying to get used to the idea of the 9 to 5 job, you know? So it's like three different seasons right there. It's like the first was high school, was just trying to fit in almost and discover yourself. The second was college and like trying to figure out how the heck this degree was going to help me find a job in the first place. So being, automatically studious by nature. And then the third was like once I actually graduated from college and entered the workforce for what was, a short period of time before I ran away to grad school. It was more of just trying to figure out how real life worked. And so like along these three different stages and along these three different seasons of life, my priorities had completely changed. In like high school, it was trying to figure out like what the I don't know what the next event was, like what was the next like school play, or like what was the next like concert or whatever. College, it was, what is the next networking event, honestly, and like what was like the next step that I could take to find myself a job like after I'd graduated, and how do I like speed run like the 4 years that I was like in a college career. And then when I entered the workforce, it was trying to plot a path in this like beginning of a career that I had no idea what I was doing. I barely had any like entry level experience at all. And honestly, just trying to figure out like how I was supposed to develop a career by looking at like what others had done already, like with like 20 years of experience, and then maybe trying to mimic that. So fast forward to now, after like, some more stages of life with like grad school and like more working, and like now here in Washington, D.C., I'm in a season of, so the concept is called like trying to be like a wannapreneur. You know what I mean? It's like it's someone who wants to be an entrepreneur but is a wannabe entrepreneur, because at the same time it's like, well, I guess you could look at Embassy Life in DC and this YouTube channel as startups. You know what I mean? And like if you've ever kind of studied like the startup world, what's the statistic? 95% to 99% of startups like fail or something like that within like their first year. You know what I mean? So like right now I'm in a season of building, and I am putting in the reps quite, metaphorically, but also realistically as well, with like filming YouTube videos for the YouTube channel, trying to build content for the Embassy Life in DC project, trying to make these dreams like a reality so that in my next season of life, I can continue to grow them, but with that being like the main focus of what I do for a living. That's like the whole point of like doing both of these things, for me at least, and also enjoying the process along the way. But it's interesting, as you enter like different seasons of life, you develop different priorities. And it's funny because I was talking with my mom a couple of days ago about like why now? You know what I mean? Like why I had chosen to do the Embassy Life in DC project like a year ago and then tried to keep it up, and why I decided to start a YouTube channel like 2 months ago and like keep it up. And I asked her like, I'm seeing all this like, success is a term I use very loosely, because like in my mind I attribute success to monetary value, and I have not made anything with the Embassy Life in DC project and also this YouTube channel, because it's literally 2 months old and the other is like a year and almost like a quarter or something like that. So it's just like in terms of, actual money made, there's nothing. And there is a large time sink into both of these projects on a, daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly basis. So it's like why now? Like sometimes I spend so much time on both of these projects, I kind of look at it and I'm like, why am I spending so much time like trying to build these two things? And I know the answer is like, I have a dream, I want to make that a reality. It's like, I would love like my dream to be like, for example, having a part-time remote job and then making money from YouTube videos and like partnerships to the Embassy Life in DC project. But that will take like many years to build, you know what I mean? So that's why I said that right now I'm in a season of building. And that's like why I'm spending so much of my life energy, time, and creative focus into trying to build these two things. And also, networking and building relationships with people. Washington, D.C. is like a really great place to do that type of thing because it's the core of the nation. It's the nation's capital. So if there's anywhere to do it, it's either here or New York is a great location for that too, despite all the craziness that's happening up there and like the cost of living and stuff like that. So with like those two things specifically, it's just like I'm in a season of building. I'm a wantrepreneur because like I'm not making anything, and like the niches that I'm in are they're not AI, they're nothing trendy and stuff like that. Like one is like literally cultural affairs is like, and travel and tourism, which is like what I'm trying to morph it into. And then this YouTube channel operates under the assumption that I am the niche because like I have many different interests, as you can probably tell from all the videos that I've talked about, from like answering existential questions to, you know, uh, cruddy travel videos that I like slap together in Canva to talking in front of a phone camera about life in general, and then like filming some educational videos about like how to network and how to develop these evergreen skills that can let you build a community around a hobby. Community around, yeah, gotcha, got it right. Sometimes I think about stuff in my head, then I say it out loud, and I'm just like, wait, was that the right way to do it? Partially dyslexic. So it's like, how do you build a community around a hobby and then try to monetize that? You know what I mean? And like, that's what I'm trying to like also document with this YouTube channel at the same time, so that one day someone that comes to my channel completely new, they're just like, wait a sec, this dude started like 2 years ago or something like that, filming cruddy YouTube videos on his Google Pixel phone. Hopefully by that time, 2 years in the future, I have some upgraded hardware and some more subscribers. But he's actually making money off of it. I want to do that. Can he teach me? That would be like the cool dream to have. So it's like I'm in a season of building right now, and with the priorities in my life, it's like these are my priorities. Like I don't know how it is like for you watching this video. Everyone's circumstances are different. Everyone lives in a different place. Their priorities are very different. But you'll notice that like once you like dial in or like lock into something that you really want to make like a reality, it's the same thing with like working out or working on a creative project. You know what I mean? And like people will tell you that it's a pipe dream. You shouldn't, spend so much time on it. Like you shouldn't be so obsessed with it. It's like once you lock in and like, you start building it and you start like putting all this like time, energy, and focus into these like hobbies, they often grow in unexpected ways. But the only way that it grows is if you keep on going and if you don't give up. So that's why like in the different seasons of life, you'll have different priorities. And a reality of that type of thinking is that you'll have to say no to a lot of things. That's what I've learned as well, kind of like, especially in this past year alone, like I've had to say no to some opportunities because, and not life changing, you know what I mean? Like not, oh my God, like work for me and I'll make $1 million. No, it's nothing like that. It's just like for example, like with the Embassy Life in DC project, I have to say no to certain things because like I can't go to everything, right, in Washington, D.C. I'm literally like a one person, army, whatever. Like I can't go to all these places every single week because it's too exhausting. I need time for myself. I want to continue working out, which is something that I've been slacking on despite like my videos about fitness and oh my God, I'm a fitness like, influencer. I'm not, I'm just joking. But it's like your priorities will often lead you to saying no if you truly believe in them. And that's what I've like realized, especially like over the past year. It's like I've had to say no to like all these different things because I need time to build stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like I'll go to an event every so often, right? But like at the very beginning, when I was like starting out the Embassy Life in DC project, I was going to like events almost every single day. That's what I was doing, and also working out, trying to at least at the same time. But now it's like I need, nights to myself where I like can focus and dial in to like filming a video every now and then and writing the newsletter, keeping that up, trying to think of ideas for y'all and stuff like that, despite the videos not performing admirably well, but that's not the point. The point is to fall in love with the creative process as like a side note and not be so consumed by metrics. But as you enter different seasons in your life, and this is maybe more applicable to someone who's younger than 28 and maybe watching this, but maybe people older find this out too, is that when you enter different seasons of life, you have different priorities. And then as a result of those priorities that you deem important in your life, you will have to say no to a lot of opportunities to make those priorities a reality. So that might be obvious by saying it out loud, but at the same time, I don't think people fully understand like what it means to like enter a specific season. You know, like there are 4 seasons, right? There's like summer, fall, winter, spring, not in that particular order. I don't want anyone in the comment section telling me I don't know my seasons, but you enter different seasons of life as you grow older. Some choose to have a family, some choose to have kids, some choose to abandon everything and travel the world to like find themselves. You know what I mean? So it's just like when you enter different seasons of life, your priorities will change. And when your priorities will change, you'll have to say no to a bunch of things because that's how life works. It's either everything happening at once or nothing is happening at all, and the day-to-day gets like extremely boring, but you got to continue grinding to make those priorities a reality. So I leave you with this. If you are in a season of life right now that you are dedicating yourself to, what are your priorities and what have you said no to recently that has made you consider how other people perceive you and how you've changed over time? I have found that people have changed their perception of me a lot over the past couple of years with just, it depends, like family, friends, that type of thing. But the thing is that once you're successful in whatever you choose to do in life, people have no choice but to associate with you because you're literally a paragon of success in your own way. Like and follow for more as we explore more existential topics in life with the Life with Nate channel, and I will see you in another video.